You're seeing some small sections of the carnivore community, and even though they're small in size, they
loud.
are mighty in their voice.
Sure.
And they're pretty much putting out this thing, it's carnivore or nothing. That this is the only way to eat, and it has to be pure. And to be honest, what they're pushing is unrealistic, and it's unnecessary.
Hey, what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
Welcome back to the channel. We're going to try something new. We want to do some off-the-cuff videos where we're just going to kind of banter back and forth and talk about some issues in the keto and carnivore lifestyle.
Well, and I think that, we're a good test subject because we are right in the middle.
Yes.
We're in the slap dab in the middle of what I would call Dr. Berry's proper human diet.
Right.
We are not somebody who tries to see how many carbohydrates we can get away with. And we are also not somebody who's like, you should never have a carb touch your lips.
Yeah.
And I think that after 8 years, now going into 9 years of very meat heavy keto, we've seen a lot of changes in the landscape.
We have. And today, there's a lot of things that have been kind of going through our mind. But today, I want to focus on carnivore.
Okay.
And what is happening with the entire space of keto, carnivore, like you said, Dr. Berry's proper human diet, like a primal way of eating.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about how some of the carnivore community is really affecting, and I think in a negative way, the whole lifestyle. And in the end, I think that they're hurting people.
Well, I think that if you create a dogma that is getting harder and harder, there's more steps to it. Like there's so many levels and you're just constantly having to level up. You can make it so hard to thread the needle of what is correct that people just throw their hands up and say to themselves, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the standard American diet and then try to moderate myself a little bit better with the information that I got during my stay here.
Right. Well, my thing is that the dogma is really bad.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about with dogma is you're seeing some small sections of the carnivore community, and even though they're small in size, they
loud.
are mighty in their voice.
Sure.
And they're pretty much putting out this thing, it's carnivore or nothing. That this is the only way to eat, and it has to be pure. And to be honest, what they're pushing is unrealistic, and it's unnecessary.
Well, it's funny because, like I said, we've been here for a long time. We're a very community-based channel. That's the mission statement of Two Crazy Ketos. And we've actually had people come up to us and say, man, I really loved you guys, but I am beyond you now.
Yeah.
Like I
was offended.
I have leveled up. I have optimized past needing you. And first of all, I would say you haven't, because what we are bringing to your life isn't like an expertise of proper macros. I think what we all need more than anything is friendship. We need somebody that is cheering for us, somebody that will be there, not just when we've got our plate just right, but, when a pet dies or when we're having a birthday or they care about a job that we're starting, right? We need friendship in our lives. And in order for us to do life together, I think there needs to be a space that is relaxing. And I'm fine to be living beyond the couch, but still to be somebody's comfy couch when it comes to feeling comfortable to approach us and hang out.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, people have different histories. They have different metabolisms.
Sure.
They also have different budgets.
Yeah.
And different triggers. And so when you have this attitude of it's carnivore or nothing, you're really pushing people away, because what works for one person may not work for other people, because it really comes down to that individualized nutrition is what really, really matters.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to tweak over time. The keto, plate that we eat now is not the same one that we ate almost 9 years ago. I mean, it continues to change. But shouldn't that be rightfully so? I mean, how many hairstyles have I had over the last 9 years?
I don't know. How old are you?
I mean, it's...
In days.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's something that keeps life exciting. I mean, truly, we believe in eating, locally sourced, things that are in season. And so your seasons are just going to change.
Yeah, I mean, policing spices and coffee, sweeteners, even electrolytes. I've literally seen carnivores saying that if you're using electrolytes, then you're not really carnivore. Or having an occasional vegetable. Here's what you're doing when you're policing this stuff with people. You're creating fear.
Yeah.
Because now what's happening is people feel like they're failing even when they actually are making massive improvements in their lifestyle. I mean, the second that you give up sugar, or that you go from eating the overly processed foods that you're going to find in most grocery stores to even eating a very dirty version of keto, you're making massive improvements to your health.
Huge difference than the little Debbie cake life I used to live.
So how are they really affecting people's journeys? Well, let's talk about the fact that beginners are going to quit.
Right.
Because they come in, and I remember this being like when we first got started on keto, that, you had influencers out there saying this is the way to do it, and if you didn't do it that way, you felt like you were a complete failure.
Right.
So beginners are going to quit because they feel like they can't possibly live up to this perfection. And I've got news for you. No, you can't live up to perfection, because nobody is perfect. Nobody's ever been perfect except for one person who's ever walked the face of the earth.
Jesus. And if you want to talk about him with us, we'd be happy to chat with you about him. No, I have to question, why is that their objective? To make themselves like the penultimate expert in proper nutrition. Why are they establishing themselves as the only way? I mean, it sounds very, not just dogmatic, but it almost sounds like a cult.
Well, I think there's two different sects. So I want to talk about one, and this is really going to upset some people. But on the one side, I think that some of the people who you see active in the chats,
sure,
and in the groups for, different social media influencers or on Facebook and things like that, I think a lot of them, they're not dogmatic because they genuinely care about people. I think that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that there's a portion of that where they're coming out to be, I'm better than you. It kind of reminds me of the people in our life who are completely against keto. You tell them about keto, and this is why we started our channel, right? You tell them about keto, and they're like, that's stupid, that doesn't work, you're going to gain all the weight back. All of these different reasons why they couldn't do it. Well, why did they really have those reasons? They had those reasons because they didn't want to face the real truth that if this works, they have to change their lifestyle. And I think that there's a portion of the community that have become so dogmatic that they have to justify why they're being so hard on themselves.
Do you think that sometimes also it's the audience has made a snapshot of the person that they're following, and they believe, a certain narrative about them. And they want the person that they are listening to the most to be some sort of non-human superhero that wouldn't dare stoop and have something, I don't know, if they don't think it's the most perfect ingredient. My person has to be the best. It's almost like you're cheering for a sports team and you start to think that the team is not capable of doing anything. All we do is win, right? But really, even if you're listening to somebody, I guess maybe because it's so painfully obvious that, we make mistakes, but maybe somebody else, it's easier to create this sort of narrative that, this person only eats the cleanest, most pristine stuff.
So it's funny you say that, because again, we didn't even really talk about what I wanted to talk about. I was just like, let's go record a video. I want to get something off of my chest.
Sure.
And so you're leading into my second group of people and why I think they're dogmatic.
Okay.
And this is going to really ruffle some feathers. So I'm not going to name names.
Okay.
But I'm going to put at least 50% of the blame of the dogmatic carnivore community square on carnivore coaches and influencers. Not all of them.
Right.
But there are some of them.
Sure.
Who, in my opinion, you have some influencers or coaches are creating dependence.
Yes.
Not freedom.
Well,
and they're doing it by shaming people. Now, go with this for a minute.
Okay.
So, if you are a social media influencer, okay, we do this because we want to spread our message, because we love people, because we want to help people. But as you do it more, and it takes a lot of time.
Sure it does.
You'd like to make a little bit of money to at least offset the cost of, like, for example, our Mighty Network community, or paying for cameras, or paying for your website. You want to at least be able to get enough money to cover your cost of running a YouTube channel, because it's not cheap. I mean, a set of microphones is $500 alone, right? And in the carnivore community, there is no way to make money.
Because it's just meat.
Because it's just meat. It's kind of like the food companies. Why did the food companies all start finding like ways to make things keto? Because people stopped buying their products, right? And I think that their solution is get somebody so loyal they won't go anywhere else because they'll watch me and maybe subscribe to my program. And it gives them a way to offer it. So they're shaming people and it's creating a dependence. But a real coach should be teaching people skills so that they don't need them anymore. And I think that what's happened is you have, again, not all, but some influencers really just started shaming people to get them to be loyal. Like, you are the cream of the crop. You know, it's like, you know, Vince McMahon, you know, I mean, or Vince Lombardi rather, where they're coming in and be like, you are the best and nobody's going to beat you. So they're up here at the top going, nobody is better than me. And listen, so-and-so told me I'm the best. And if you're not following me and following them, you're lower than us. And so the problem that you're having now is some of these social media influencers who have been saying this for years, like the only solution is to only ever eat meat or only ever eat beef, and every plant is trying to kill you. And now all of a sudden they're going, well, I'm going to change up my diet a little bit and I'm going to introduce a couple of other things, like maybe even coffee or nicotine or something. And now their own people are revolting against them.
Well, I don't think you're wrong when you said Vince McMahon, because it's like, let's get ready to rumble.
That's true too.
It's like, and that's not the atmosphere that you really want to live in. That's a very stressful atmosphere that you feel like you've got to fight constantly about stuff, and everybody's like angry at mealtime because they're confused. But I do think that I agree with what you said. I also think there's another layer, and that is, I want you to follow my coaching forever. And so I have to continue having some sort of tweak where I never give you like the full answer. I have to give you like little breadcrumbs so that you are always attached to me, like always attached to me. And so what I'm seeing recently is somebody that like had you follow the breadcrumbs of carnivore until finally you mopped yourself into a corner of just like you're eating beef and not even salt. And when we ran out of space for people to follow them into, they're like, you know what? Forget that. I think actually keto, carnivore, it's like super dangerous. And now we should go completely into carb cycling. And like, so they just had people follow from one thread of fear and just follow me into the next place of fear, still not giving you all of the information, because at the end of the day, like you said, everybody's an individual. So the honest truth is that no one has all the answers. Anybody that says they've got the perfect macros for you, they've got the perfect grocery list for you, is just flat out trying to sell you a macro list and a grocery list.
Personally, what I'm going to tell you is if there is a social media influencer, even if it's a doctor,
Yeah.
who is out there going, this is the only way. The only way is to never touch an herb or a spice or coffee, and that everybody else is less than you. I honestly think you should run from that person.
Yeah.
I think that they're, like I said, a major problem, that we should be not focusing on beating each other up within the primal way of eating community, or like Dr. Berry calls the proper human diet. We should be encouraging everybody and be really celebrating the fact that they have left the standard American diet. That's what we should be celebrating. There are so many people out there who don't understand this way of eating. I mean, you're seeing it more and more now, even with like RFK's recommendations on new dietary recommendations. And when you see posts going up that he's recommending that we eat more animal protein, that we dump seed oils, and when you read the comments in these posts, 90% of them are, he's going to kill us. So it's kind of like, as a Christian, there's so many people out there that aren't Christians. Like, we shouldn't be beating up fellow Christians. We should be out trying to introduce more people to Jesus Christ. It's the same thing here. Rather than beating each other up inside of a community of everybody who is working hard to fix their metabolism, fix their different, diseases they may have, go find the people who haven't discovered this yet and help them. Because here's the real truth. Coffee, that's not derailing 99% of the people who are drinking coffee.
Well, for me, I like to keep eyes on people who are living in the real world. Show me how a regular person, not somebody who, has 14, around the world vacations every single day. Like, I want to see somebody in Aldi, right? They're shopping in like a discount grocery store. I want to see somebody making it work in the drive-thru. I want somebody that can show me, how can I make Thanksgiving work? What can I pack in my kids' school lunches, that isn't so bougie that they need to bring in like, caviar from some remote place in order for them to be doing childhood right. I think that if you make it so impossible and so snobby, like that for me is a red flag. I want to see real people doing it in real world life, because there's no possible way that I can run a household, have a family, and live in the gym for 5 hours unless I am a gym coach, right? And I can't only ever live in my amazing state-of-the-art kitchen and only, be doing amazing things in my kitchen. That's a $25,000 kitchen, right? I mean, we live in a manufactured home that we're remodeling, right? We've got some limitations here. And I like seeing other people who just live in the real world.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, the problem's not coffee. So if you're a carnivore, stop and don't drink coffee. Stop beating up people who are drinking coffee. They're still carnivore, okay? If they're allowing themselves coffee, that's okay. If you look at ancestrally, and when I say ancestrally, I like to say, let's go pre-industrial revolution. Let's look at how the Native Americans ate when we first came to this country.
Sure.
If they found leaves, did they turn it into tea? Absolutely. If they found different spices or herbs growing in the woods, and when they cooked it with their food, it made the food taste better, did they continue to consume it? Yes. Then why is it wrong for other people to use spices and herbs? If 99.9% of somebody's diet is eating only meat, and 1% of it isn't, that's carnivore enough. Because again, even though this is going to upset people, there's never been a human civilization ever that has existed that only eats meat. Every civilization occasionally will eat plants, berries, things like that. I mean, even Inuit Eskimos will eat seaweed.
Well, over the years, we've been married for a really long time. And something that, we've kind of learned in our marriage is, when it comes to any type of an argument or difference of opinion, you do have to ask yourself, is it more important that I'm loved and convey love? Or is it more important that I'm right? And I think that we are losing the argument completely for better health when we constantly choose that low-hanging fruit of being able to craft this like witty, biting, stinging retort to somebody who's asking maybe a question that's kind of naive. And we've lost our ability to see the heart of another human being and say, you know what, if I make this too hard, if I make this too confusing, if I make this person who may have had like extensive morbid obesity throughout their entire life like Joe and I have, or maybe it's not easy for them to make friends, maybe they haven't been able to move their bodies, maybe they're in a health problem that really has them worried. They're really worried, right, for their future and the future of their family. If I just put out this nasty remark and then send them down the path of a hopeless case or feeling down and dejected, like, I don't think that really shows that you are a better human. I don't think that shows that, like, oh, wow, survival of the fittest, because my fitness is in my mouth and in my fingertips, and I'm able to type something that's really going to destroy somebody and make them feel stupid. I don't think that that's the truth of someone who really has wisdom.
For you as a carnivore coming in going, if you put garlic on something, if you have coffee, if, God forbid, you put 2 drops of stevia in your coffee, you're a horrible person. Do you realize that this person probably gave up eating ding-dongs, ho-hos, and Oreo cookies every day?
Well, it's really hypocritical because chances are the majority of people did not cross that giant chasm from standard American diet to lion diet in one stride themselves. Yeah. There was some form of a welcome mat. I mean, even the person that's saying, hey, I'm beyond you guys now, like, that's fine. But at least, but you needed us as a stepping stone at the very least. So my thought is, why don't you want more people to start at least heading in your direction? Because maybe they will even come to where you are given enough time, but they can't even have a chance of coming to where you are if you drown them on the first leg of their journey.
Here's the real problem, is that demonizing everything is going to create just an impossible standard. And when you create an impossible standard, eventually everybody abandons it.
Yeah.
And here's an even more of a wake-up call. I'm going to tell you that a lot of these dogmatic people at some point will quit doing what they're doing.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Because they have to change it.
Again, you're seeing it now. Yeah. I mean, this carnivore, like where you only eat meat, it's still a relatively new kind of thing. And you are starting to see doctors who have been eating this lifestyle for a while.
Maybe 10 years.
All of a sudden going, you know what? I think every once in a while you have to have a vegetable. I think every once in a while we need to change things up. And that's okay.
Well, if you allow the discussion to like ebb and flow and you keep things normal and you don't make a connection between someone's character, like who they are as their person, and identity being the food that you eat. If you relax that and say, we are people and this is on what's on my plate right now, I think it makes it easier to have a discussion. It shouldn't be a shock to an audience that somebody changed up their order at a restaurant, right?
Let's wrap this thing up. I want to start, before we even wrap it up, to make sure that everybody understands we are not anti-carnivore.
No.
We are not anti-carnivore. We're anti-dogmatic carnivore where you beat up other people. And I don't care what this does to our channel, I will say, if you are a dogmatic carnivore, or even if you are a dogmatic keto person,
yes,
or a dogmatic Mediterranean diet person,
carb cycler,
if you are so dogmatic and think that your way is the only way and you want to tell everybody else how they're doing it wrong, you're not welcome in our community.
And that's a hard disinvite to get, but that's how crazy it has gotten, because there are so many people that are just putting their foot for the first time on the welcome mat, or there's people that have been doing this for a really long time and they're proud of the results that they've gotten. And I don't want somebody trying to take that away from them because they don't like how they're achieving it. I will never forget, after my mom puts her diabetes of more than 20 years into remission, she goes to see this doctor who she's been seeing for the totality of her diabetes, prognosis. And she's ready to cheer with this person. Like, we did it, right? It took time, but now it's in reverse. First thing the doctor says, I don't like how you did this.
Right. I know you weighed 500 pounds and now you weigh 150 pounds. That's not her mom, just in general.
But I don't like how you did it.
But I don't like how you did it, and you would have been better off being 500 pounds. That's how some people are sounding.
Right.
So again, we are not anti-carnivore. I want to make sure we're perfectly clear with that. And some people do truly need to eat a strict carnivore lifestyle for autoimmune or gut issues, or maybe to discover things about their bodies. That doesn't even mean they're going to have to eat that way for the rest of their life, but there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And some people do that, but I think that's a very small portion of the community, and I think it's an even smaller portion of the dogmatic people, because the people who truly need that aren't so dogmatic. That I see anyway. They're more of, this is help for me, but I don't think everybody needs this. Other people, though, are perfectly fine to have coffee, spices, and even the occasional vegetable.
I think that there needs to be some defense of the middle. We're in the middle.
We're in the middle.
We're in the middle, and I am proud to be in the middle. I'm good with it. I feel fantastic. I'm aging. As I approach, this is the last year in my 40s. I'm about to turn 50. There's got to be somebody that is a middle-aged grandma in the middle fighting for the middle.
Yeah. So in the end, here's what we want to kind of leave you with. Eating real food should be celebrated. Whether that real food is 100% meat, it involves some vegetables, it even involves some natural sweeteners like allulose or stevia. If it involves eating a piece of fruit, we should celebrate that somebody is eating whole, real foods. If we don't like it, we can keep our mouths shut, but celebrate the things that they're doing that is right.
And if we want to have like an enemy, we have a common enemy. And that's ultra-processed frankenfood that has our several generations currently living under an addiction to sugar and to garbage food. Like if we want somebody to fight, don't worry. There is a cause to fight. And I think that ultra-processed frankenfood is the fight that is the common enemy that we can all, turn back our focus to.
So in the end, here's what we want you guys to do. We want everybody to be more supportive and less policing.
Yeah.
Now, if you like seeing videos like this, please do us a favor. Take a look at the video we have linked right over there. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video that I'm going to put right over here.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon in that way. Every single time we chat about something, you'll be alerted to it.
Until next time.
Bye.